why would the United States government name you in such a? I mean, this is pretty serious.
Listen, the FBI already cleared the president and Roger Stone. This is not the FBI. This is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer deciding that they're going to create their own committee to just be nosy and get in everybody's business to see if there was an insurrection after the FBI has already cleared these people.
Because I find it strange that your Instagram, your Twitter came down right around the same time that Trump's Twitter was taken down. So they obviously feel that you are some type of threat and you are somehow working with these right-wing organizations, these extremist organizations.
I don't know what they mean by extremists.
I mean,
what? Because the people,
I mean, what happened at the Capitol was pretty extreme. But do I care?
But the people at the Capitol are not people that I roll with, right? Trump wasn't even at the Capitol. We weren't at the Capitol, right? So that's separate from it.
But they have you as a part of the planning. The planning of
they're trying to they're digging for information, right? Because being investigated does not mean guilty, right? I haven't been arrested, right, or anything like that. So I know for a fact that I'm clear, right? They can do all the investigating that they want to do. I in no way what I look like. Like my whole fight has been about the black community. I don't give a damn about the Capitol. Like I'm not finna be there, have nothing to do with it. And me personally. Like, I don't do white people crazy, right? Like, I know black people crazy. I know my folk, right? We might get to fighting, somebody might get shooting, everybody run, one person run, the other person run. White people crazy, strapping bombs to yourself and you want to blow up everything and everybody. I believe that there was definitely a infiltration, right? And I believe that they were people that were put there, right, to create a scenario, right, that would not have existed unless this was planned out. Right? So people that I saw there, and remember, I've been to the rallies. The people with the yellow shirt and the horns and their faces painted, I've never seen them before. Plants. Okay?
So you think they were put there to incite violence?
I do. I honestly believe it.
The same way that they
just like Antifa. Just like Antifa. Just like Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Come on, man. Y'all, how in the world is, I was on the ground. I was on the ground in Minneapolis. I was also on the ground here in Atlanta. Now, am I saying that our people didn't do nothing? No, I'm not saying that. What did we do? Well, we might have broken into some stores and might have stole some shit. Black people not burning down churches, yo. I'm not trying to sound like a racist. That's just not really our MO.
But I mean, that personally is a setup for gentrification.
And so if we can be infiltrated, right, a matter like Black Lives Matter, if that can be infiltrated, Trump administration can be infiltrated as well. Everybody playing games. This is Jussie Smollett times 3, 4, 5. This is my personal opinion. I'll testify to Congress and say the same thing. I believe they are absolutely full of shit. I know that they are full of shit because there is nothing in any type of email, any type of phone record or anything of me inciting any type of violence, telling anybody that I didn't even know they was going to the Capitol.
No.
I didn't even know. I didn't get the MO.
Well, I figure the ones that, were in charge of creating that regime, of course, I don't think that their mission was to invite as many Black people as they could. They were obviously sending a message of, them being proud and trying to save their race. And they're not worried about,
what do you mean at up there at the rally that day?
At the rally when they stormed the Capitol. I think it was a message being sent.
I think we will. And I think that because I've been around these people, and not all of them have been able to work with some people. Is there good and bad and everything? Yes. I'm not finna sit up here and say that it ain't no racists in the Republican Party. Just like I'm not gonna sit up here and say that it ain't no racists in the Democrat Party, right? Are there some people, right, that don't like Black people, that are associated with the Republican Party? Absolutely. Are they white liberals that want Black women to abort their babies and want Black men to castrate themselves so they ain't got to worry about them reproducing? Absolutely. Larry Elder was just egged by a white liberal in a gorilla mask. A white woman in a gorilla mask. I don't personally support him. Like I say, I don't agree with all conservatives, with all Republicans. I'm a conservative because of my beliefs and my values. And I believe in a hand up and not a handout, because had I come home from prison and got welfare, I would never be the owner of Stanton Publishing House. I'd have never wrote that book. I would have never started a nonprofit organization, okay? I would have never been this person that I am today, helping other people find their way to entrepreneurship, because I would have felt like I'm a convicted felon, ain't nobody gonna give me no job.
Well, I mean, that
I would have raised them children.
Your only choice, either that, go live off the government for the rest of your life, in Medicaid and Medicare, or go out here and get it.
But our system's so wicked. Like back then, before before they X'd out the box or whatever, you still had to be discriminated against even when you came home from prison. People weren't hiring you if you were a convicted felon. People weren't giving you housing assistance if you were a convicted felon. You couldn't get Section 8 if you had a felony.
And I do want to say, statistically, when you look at the numbers, especially with Black men coming out of incarceration onto the streets, they will tell you that they are conservatives because of how the system has done them. Okay, it was a democratic system that put them in jail. You know what I'm saying? That oppressed them. And then when they got out, it was the same democratic system that is supposed to be here to help our people that wouldn't even give them a handout. So guess what? They're forced to either, go get it, or
it's a revolving door.
They will wound up going back to jail just for a place to lay
And while
their head.
they're in jail, we're working and the government is raising our children. I've lived it.
Yeah.
My life is a perfect example of the impact that politics has had on the Black community. And so even when we get into the whole Trump thing and what happened on the 6th, I want people to be very clear and know that in my workings with him and his administration, there were some great things that were done. HBCUs were permanently funded, where they didn't have to come back for funding every single year. A lot of people don't know that he put a special office in the White House just for HBCUs. Not only that, we were able to defund Planned Parenthood to almost $60 million. They didn't report about this. They could have got the money. It was federal funding. It said, hey, you can have this money if you agree not to use this money for abortions, but to use it for your other programs like putting out birth control and education. They walked away from the money because they wanted to perform abortions, right? So to me, I feel like, hey, that's $60 million that did not go towards executing life, right? The First Step Act. These are our people that we grew up with that got locked up for Joe Biden's 94 crime bill, the crack era, when everybody got football numbers for selling crack and selling weed. Some of these people still locked up right now, and they have legalized it, right? Joe Biden has been in office and done absolutely nothing for criminal justice reform, absolutely nothing for Black people, after saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. But the Asians got 50 million. Afghan refugees got 500,000. All of these people are doing everything for everybody else, and the only thing we can get is the Equality Act and free abortion.
I mean,
I'm disappointed.
I'm gonna have to have you back for a segment too on just unwinding Joe Biden's.
The man ain't even competent.
That like I said, that is very triggering. So. But it's safe to say, even though you are at the center of an investigation, they are clearly trying to, one, silence you, and two, trying to pin anything that they can on you to keep you quiet. Why do you feel that they're after you? I
mean, just like you and I were talking about your name being in the news and in the highlight once again, and whether or not you're clear or if you've done anything. And I think that when you're outspoken and you're unapologetic, that people are going to come after you to shut you down. I mean, come on, I've 3-in-1 2 times already. The Breakfast Club, Hollywood Unlocked, Dr. Phil, anybody that brings me on their show, we're talking about plain common sense. And my message goes totally against the agenda that they are pushing out now for our society. And so they don't want to see this strong Black woman saying to her sisters, no, we not gonna kill our babies. We gonna turn this thing around, right? They don't want us getting Black men out of prison and putting them back in the homes, right? Because we know our boys need our fathers.
They praise
right?
Kim Kardashian for getting Black men out of prison.
Come on. And I was
really
there.
Not even doing that.
And I was there, right? I was there.
And there
right?
are Black women that are working
fought
on
for
behalf
Black people
to get out of prison.
And then there are some people that show up for a photo op. Right? Now, I'm not going to hate at all when it comes to Kim Kardashian, because in that criminal justice reform movement, She didn't have to dedicate her platform to that, right? Am I gonna say that Kim Kardashian cares more about black men and black children and the black struggle than I do? I don't know if I can fairly say that, because I've actually lived that life. I've lived that experience. Now, that doesn't mean that Kim does not care, but I'm definitely much more passionate about it because I've lived it. I've been impacted by it. I've been affected by it. So I ain't gonna diss her. You understand where I'm coming from? But Black America needs to know that if Kim Kardashian was not the only one sitting up in those meetings with the president to get the First Step Act passed. That's very true. So, but we got called coons, right? They talk about white supremacy. They dog me. They called me a sellout and a coon for going in there and fighting with my own story to change the law. But they praise Kim. Now, I thought y'all had an issue with white supremacy. Y'all seem to me, y'all like white supremacy. You want to praise the white woman and you want to dog the black woman.
I mean, Louis Farrakhan, that's one thing. I mean, now, of course, I have my views about him as well. But one thing that he did say that was so powerful, he said, listen, we may not like the president at all. I personally have my views towards him, but we need black people walking through that door.
Yes.
That is the only way that we're going to get anything passed. So you calling them coons, you trying to shut them down because they're sitting with a man that has the power to make the decisions to make your life better. That's a problem. How are we supposed to make change?
And the fight doesn't stop because of who's in the White House, right? Like, I remember when I first got connected with the administration, it was after he had put out a call and said, you know, anybody that want to fight for criminal justice reform, or you know somebody you left them behind, he said, come see me. Jay-Z, Meek Mill, everybody wanted to diss the man. I had a direct line to him, and I had a story. And I'm like, okay, I could be in my emotions right now, right? And, I'm not going to go talk to this man, but I'm out and I'm free. I can also remember how it felt like to be in the cage. I can remember that night how I felt when they snatched my daughter out of my arms, when everybody talking about family separation at the border. They done forgot all about the family separation in the border. I can know what it feels like to be locked in a cage. When they talking about kids in cages, I can remember the faces of all the children that I visited in juvenile detention center. Our kids in cages right here in America, they don't give a damn about them. So I knew that all of that was hype. And that's when my eyes started opening to the games that the media played, the politics behind it all, how they wanted to create an atmosphere and censor anyone that was willing to show or tell truth. Like, I ask my people all the time when they finally do get a chance to hear me, like, if we're fighting about children in cages, then if those people are coming here and being separated from their children because that's American law, do we just change the law at the border, or do we change the law in America so for the people that come to the border, not only does it not impact them, but it does not impact us? So if we can fight to reunite families at the border, people that committed a crime, right? It's a crime, right? To have a better life. What about our homeboys and our sisters and 90% of crimes are crimes of survival.
Yeah.
Where is the compassion for us? So if Trump was saying America first, and if Trump wanted to free people that were locked up in American prisons over people that were coming through our border, then guess what? I was all with it because all my people was right here. Now that doesn't mean, right, that I don't care. But I look at it like this. You're a parent, right?
Right.
Your job when you get your money is to take care of your household. You need to make sure your bill's paid, and you need to make sure your son is fed and taken care of. Right. That don't mean you won't take care of the people next door or help the people next door. That just means that you have a responsibility to your household first.
Right.
Trump was the president. He's the parent of America. When you are the president, you are the parent of America. You have a responsibility to make sure that your people are taken care of first. That don't mean you don't help nobody else. But come on, man, they had $30 million going over to Pakistan for gender studies, and our people sleep in tents all up and down the expressway. After Keisha Bottoms talking about she raised $500 million for the homeless people. Our kids still in failing schools. 3.5 million black people still living in poverty. Y'all got $50 million to give Asians after they got all of their businesses in our communities, and y'all gonna disrespect us after you got in off of Black Lives Matter and pass a Stop Asian Hate Crime bill, and black folks, y'all still ain't got nothing. And mad at me because I worked with Trump and actually got laws passed that helped us. No, we need to divert this energy.
Well, let me say, I mean, and that's a really, really good and great point that you just made, because I do think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And a lot of our people are distracted with other things, with music, with entertainment, and they're not seeing what's going on. They're not seeing that
of course not.
We are getting the short end of the stick every time. You know,
right.
If I even mention that I'm a conservative, oh, look at you. I knew you didn't care. How could you say that I didn't care? And everything that I do is for the betterment of my people. I only employ Black people, okay? I pay Black women very, very good. You understand what I'm saying? I'm starting organizations and nonprofit organizations to only help Black people, especially Black mothers. You know what I'm saying? And so, but because I don't announce that or put it in someone's face, all of a sudden, you're just with them. You just want to see us do bad. But I did want to say this. I feel that you have a very, very special and unique power. And I do feel that your voice is really needed, okay? Because it has to be someone who's not weak. Mm-hmm. You've pissed a lot of people off out here. Mm-hmm. And I feel that if you have the power to piss people off, you have the power to make people like you. Mm-hmm. I like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? After all these years of really just, honing in and seeing who you are, I like you. Do you feel that you should maybe kind of, change your approach to situations
I think that
you could sit in high positions?
And I'm working on, delivery and communication skills, okay. And I pray every day and ask God to help me. I even got an hourglass when I do my lives to help me from just speaking so raw, right? But I think that in this day and age, right, mm-hmm. I think that God has created me exactly the way that he wanted me to be, because one thing my grandmother always told me, if it doesn't upset you, it won't change you. Right? Yes. So I could sit here and talk to you plain as day, but until I say something to piss you off and really put something on your mind and give you something to really, really think about, mm-hmm. then I won't change you. So I'm not, and I speak in truth, right? I've pissed off a lot of people, but it has been in truth, right? Even with the situation with my child, right? Yeah. My son, nobody. Listen, I don't know if I can cuss on here. Lord, help me, Jesus. Yeah. Nobody, right? I am, out of everybody on this earth, I'm the only person that's his mama. I'm the only person that carried him, raised him, birthed him, rocked him, loved him, did all that. Even 9 years that his daddy was gone to prison, right? Did whatever I had to do to make sure that my children were not suffering and did not go without. I did that, right? And no one has a right to tell me or demand of me to call my child anything. I'm the one that filled out the birth certificate. Matter of fact, you call him what I filled out on the birth certificate. I'm the one gave him his name. So it's the fact that you have some people out here, right, that have huge platforms that want to create this divisiveness, right, because they're demanding something that my own child is not even demanding, right? It's at some point, right, we got to cut the bullshit.
Well, I mean, if we're speaking in one particular platform, you have to understand that person lacked what it is to have a relationship with a mother. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And so right. You always have to go back and see where people are coming from. And so, of course, there's not going to be a respect for a mother-son relationship or a mother-trans relationship, because simply they can't speak from that point of reference, because right. they never had that. They don't know what it's like for a mother right. to love a child beyond what you want me to call you. This has nothing to do with what you identify as. I love you as a whole. Right. And so, and that was one of the things too that softened me up about you, because I felt like you were being attacked for simply loving your child.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And
right.
telling your child the truth. Because a lot of times